You've waited a lifetime to look better and feel better, and now here's your chance. Fitness Friday on WNDB. Call 239-0033 and have your questions answered on health, fitness, and a better life. Fitness Friday is brought to you by Bodez by Tasso & Company, 1140 West Granada Boulevard in Ormond Beach. And now, here's your host, Tasso Kyriakis.
All right, welcome to Fitness Friday. Welcome in studio with us, Mitch. How you doing today?
I'm fit as a fiddle after enjoying the holiday. Thanks,
I brought you
Tasso.
your Dr. Jamie McManus, MD, Personal Guide to Wellness book. You and Dave.
Thank you.
So just as a recollection of our little discussion we had last week, which I think was a great one. Kicked us on a great trial, great way to go. And what a great night last night. Went down to the boardwalk again, and it's wonderful to see that area just prospering like it is. And kudos to Dino Paspalakis and that group, the boardwalk merchants. It was an awesome fireworks display. It was great seeing, and I'm sure that Al had a very successful event down there yesterday with all the things he had going on down there. So
It was on the 3rd he did that.
yeah, he had it
Wednesday
the
night.
night before. So, but it was awesome. I just saw all the traffic and everything down there. It was just great. So thank God for that, and thank God there's lots of people in town having a good time. So, Mitch, you had called me with some things you want to talk about. Before I get into this, so I want to talk to people a little bit about this 8-hour body program that we're getting ready to run. 8-hour body program is a program that what we're talking about is 8 hours of work in 8 weeks to change your body. And, I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I think there's some core principles to it that are very, very important that people need to understand. I think when we take on fitness or when we take on nutrition, we take it on and think that it has to be this all or nothing, man, I've got to commit to this deprivation type diet, or I've got to over-exercise hours among hours on a day. And I think we have to look at this and we have to say, look, how do we reasonably approach? Why are people, I hear people, say, oh, I could never go into a fitness center. Everybody's fit. And I sit there and I go, wow. I said, I just can't believe how we allow our own fears to keep us from improving things. How we in many cases let an investment of $50 or $60 or $100 a month keep us from improving our health. And with the Affordable Act coming like a freight train down the road to us, you're gonna, whether you like that thing or not, what you have to understand is you're gonna have to take better care of yourself. You are going to have to make
praise
better
the Lord
decisions.
on that one.
You're going to have to make better decisions how you eat, And, everybody's talking organic, and one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was about the truth about organic foods coming from China and things like that. We're starting to certify, what do you call it? Whole foods or not Whole Foods, but
Organic standards.
And there's a language barrier. There's groundwater purification issues. I mean, there's so much going on. But let's talk back about this. Let's talk about these key points of the 8-hour body and why I think in 8 weeks you can see dramatic changes. Okay, those dramatic changes are going to be as a result of my team's participation and your participation in this program. The 8-hour body basically touts that in 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week, or 30 minutes a day, 2 times a week, or less, we will begin to change your body. But here's the 3 steps, or the 3 key components. Number 1 is we're going to tout you to eat better. What's eat better? Well, I want you to go to Love Whole Foods and buy grass-fed beef instead of going to McDonald's, okay? That's where I want you to end up at. Are you going to spend a little bit more? Absolutely. Are you going to be fuller when you eat those good foods? Absolutely. Are you going to get more B-complex and CLAs? I want you to take on
K2.
I want you to take on a supportive eating philosophy. Here it is, very simply, is we're going to take your plate and we're going to say, Dave, cut that plate in half. On half of that plate, I want you to put fibrous carbs on it. Okay? I want you to have your broccolis, your zucchinis, your salad mixtures, that type of thing. Okay? The other half of the plate I want you to divide in half, so there's a quarter each. And on a quarter of it, I want you to have a lean protein. I want you to try to get grass-fed beef. I want you to try and get organic chicken. I want you to try and eat cleaner, better sources, okay? Don't go buy the Purdue's, looks like it's a turkey kind of chicken, because it's $1.99 a pound, and it doesn't satiate you, okay? And then I want you to take that other quarter plate, and I want you to forget about what people said about carbs, and I want you to put on there your fruits, and I want you to put on your sweet potato and your baked potato and your brown rice and those types of things. I want you to take out pasta. I want you to take out the processed, floury products, okay? That's it. Now, I'm not saying to do that day one. I'm saying each week, the theme of the 8-Hour Body is each week to eat a little better. My question to you will be, what did you do better this week than you did last week? That's the game plan for the program. And you know, I have a tendency to try and develop things too fast, but I really would like during the course of the 8-Hour Body to offer sort of a group class on Monday evenings that I talk a little bit and then have people give their feedback here. But from the standpoint of the exercise now, what the exercise is going to be composed of is basically a 6 to 8 machine strength training session that gives you 8 large muscle groups. We're not going to go do hundreds of sit-ups, and we're not going to go do hundreds of inner and outer thighs so we can hit the thighs for women. What we're going to do is a basic total body workout that gets the whole body involved and gets the cardiovascular system involved. Spending about 60 to 90 seconds on each machine for 6 to 8 exercises is only 9 to 12 minutes of exercise. Now, will we want you to work progressively on it? Will we want you to challenge yourself each time you work out? Yes, we're going to have that philosophy of one we talk so much about. One more rep, one more pound, one more attempt, one more second that you work hard on that machine. Progression. If I were to say, if I look at people's exercise program, the thing I would tell most people is that they need more intensity in their exercise. I see people whose bodies don't change. They're walking the same distance in the same time. They're lifting the same weights for the same number of reps, and they've been doing it for a period of time because they're caught in a routine. You wouldn't do that at work. You wouldn't work doing the same job and do it more efficiently every time for the same amount of money. You say, look, Mr. Boss, I can produce more widgets today than I could produce last year. I need more money because I'm making you more money. It's the exact same way that the body is. The body works on widget systems. The body, if it is not challenged, it doesn't use some of its systems when it works. The final part of this component is from the exercise part is that we're going to put in a program called our appointment with fitness. You know, one-on-one's big thing is that the accountability is great for it. And in one-on-one, what you do is you have an appointment where you show up for, and someone's waiting for you. So you go, oh, there's someone waiting on me. I gotta make sure I get there. So what happens is this one is not going to be to that realm, but what it's going to be is we're going to try a new program called Appointment with Fitness. And we're going to have a board that's going to be divided up into quadrants, 8 to 12, 12 to 4, 4 to 8. And you're going to sign up to show up in a time period that fits your schedule. If you do not make your appointment, then my trainers at their earliest availability or the front desk person can call and say, hey, Dave, why didn't you make your appointment today? Would you like to reschedule for tomorrow? We want to make sure we keep you on track for that 8 weeks. The exercise component is built into 2 separate things. The strength training, which we're going to encourage you to work progressively on, and then the cardiovascular, which is only going to be a 6 to 12 minute protocol. You know, back to the days when the life cycle was first being developed, when we saw what James Rippey did in his research, he took people and rode them on a hill profile that had these brief, intermittent, intense markers that lasted 10 to 15 seconds. When they worked on those, we saw marked improvement in their cardiovascular fitness. We saw marked improvement in all their biomarkers that denoted good health. Well, again, we're going to take that philosophy and take it a little bit further with what we've been doing with the burst training. And what we have now is a better tool that actually a lot of what we saw with the life cycle has come out to give us. So you'll have a moderate attention to your muscle, because muscle is good. When you strip away the fat, the muscle is what gives your body that nice contour and that good look that everybody always wants when they say, I want to be toned and fit. When we start to work our cardiovascular system, we then cause the fat burning to go up, and not by the traditional thing. You've been sold a bill of goods when people tell you, hey, I have to go do 40 minutes of cardio 6 times a week to lose fat. No. Most people work again at too low of an intensity, and we've been sold a bill of goods on this issue. So what we need to do is straighten this up. So it's only an 8-week commitment. How much is it? You say it's a $99 investment. You're going to pay $99 for the program. You're going to pay a $20 card fee for us having something that you slide to come in and out of the club. And so that's $119, comes to $126.74, and that is going to be a program that you do not have to have a commitment. Now, if you want to have a commitment to a long-term membership, great. We love that. But this is a 2-month, 8 weeks, 8 hours and 8 weeks. Anybody can find that time. TiVo your TV show and watch it another time on the weekend on a Sunday afternoon when it's raining outside. Make a commitment. Small little steps is what this program is about. The 8-hour body, in and out the door in 20 minutes 3 times a week or twice a week for 30 minutes. And, Mitch, is what this is coming off of is what we talked about. There's strong science behind what we're talking about on this program.
Yeah, we touched on it in the last program on that interval training, which is what you're is basically your approach.
And it's really more than interval training. It's like when people would say that knowledge training was only circuit training. I remember circuit training first being exposed to it when I was at Seabreeze High School, and they brought in a universal machine. And you had like the 14 different stations. And the marvel of the universal was there's 21 exercises on this big box, right? And you had chin ups and you had dips and you had leg press, and everybody's moving from machine to machine, and they would keep you on the machine for 60 seconds, and you'd go as fast as you could, and you did all these different things. And that was the magic machine. No one machine, no one pill, no one food is going to change your body. It's not going to change your health. It's a combination of this synergy of good eating, attention to muscle, and some moderate aerobic exercise. It's what's going to make sure that your body changes. We're not going to sell that pill. If you want the quick solution, and I don't want you to do it through deprivation. I've done the things that do deprivation. A lot of people say, "Oh, I got to have that. I can't eat and lose weight." We want to build your metabolism with this program. We want you to be able to lose fat, and that's the goal of the program. If you'll make the little changes every week. So,
let me just interject also, especially when people are addicted to carbs. Love Whole Foods has a number of transitional low-carb pastas, for example, to help with that. It's in sync with what you're advocating. You don't have to deprive yourself. Just do a transition. Do what you can handle, and then move on to see some benefit, and then build on it.
And again, this transition to eating better, Mitch, is about making better choices. Listen, week 1 of the program, you may eat at McDonald's 3 times. Week 2, I hope you only eat at McDonald's twice. And then week 3, maybe you don't eat at all at McDonald's because you're starting to feel so much better.
No, I got a lot of problem with McDonald's, but
the
salt alone, you'll put on 2 pounds of pounds of water weight.
You have a different commitment than people out there do. We're zealots for what we do.
I sell a mac and cheese. It's gluten-free mac and cheese without dairy cheese, and guess what? It's incredible. Right. So if you got to have that comfort food, if you got to have a burger, if you got to have a dog. Which again, with the holidays, we promoted all of the, the free-range hot dogs made with free-range chicken. It's a hot dog. It tastes just like a hot dog. It's just that one has nutritional value. The other one's full of monosodium glutamate. It's going to give you a headache.
Well, and again, people are where they are. The one motto we have at Bodez is this: we're going to take you where you're at, and we're going to get you to where you want to be. And that's the part of this partnership that, I wish we could change everybody. I wish everybody could walk in the door like Steve Robinson did and turn the switch. And I wish everybody could come in and start an eating program and turn the switch. The reality of this is for us, there's several switches for people sometimes. And the first switch is I'll eat a little bit better. The second switch is I'll exercise a little bit. Third switch is I'll work out a little harder when I exercise. And so that's what we want to encourage people out there. We want to reach out to you, and we want to put special promotions. I would encourage you, Mitch, to go home and have some thought about this. We didn't get to talk about this, but put a little 8-hour packet together for people who come into this. And I can say, look, go over and here's some more popular items that would really improve your health. Like your example, some low carb, healthier carbohydrates. rather than going and buying Mueller's pasta that's been processed and they have to enrich the pasta when they make it, or buying
rice-a-roni,
or buy those kind of things.
I mean, rice. Come on in and try one of our arboreal rices. That's just a delicacy.
Get them a multi-grain rice so they can enjoy those. So get them an organic sweet potato so they can taste a better taste in that type of thing. And put a little, 8-hour body packet of the week together that says, hey, listen, this is $100 worth of food for $89, and they can invest in that, and they can see that they're going to be a lot better off. Now, while I'm on the topic of food, tell me a little bit, because I'm sort of ignorant to this stuff, and I read this internet article that talked about fake organic foods coming from China. Yeah,
China. We screened for it. I just have to tell you, since China, it has the Damocles sword over our heads with the amount of bombs that they've bought. Our Federal Trade Commission gets their arm twisted in allowing what the Chinese realize is the hot topic in the market, and that's organic. Dr. Mercola just did a study on Chinese tea. I hope everybody's listening, especially you tea drinkers. With the races and knocking back the Lucien tea. Well, just make sure you understand that Lucien tea is buying the cheapest tea that they can. Mercola did the research on it. Chinese tea has 10 times the lead content, 10 times, folks, of standard even Indian tea. So that's just one example. We don't sell it. Garlic, even worse. Even though it has the organic standard, the standard is only as good as it's enforced. And whether or not somebody at the FTC or somebody at the docks in San Francisco is testing that organic material to see if it really meets the standards. And our case with Chinese products across the board is so dismal, we don't sell it, period.
Well, here's the thing: is they're the third largest source of food imports, according to 2009 Economic Research Service. There's 60% of our apple juice comes from China. Our garlic is heavily, as you mentioned,
about 40% of our honey.
And 40% of our honey.
It's
wow.
It's just FYI, on July 30th, we're doing a tasting of Goldenrod honey. Goldenrod Apiaries is a Florida-based honey corporation that makes the best honey I've ever had, and it's going to be free. So the Chinese honey, again, if the plants are polluted with the industrial pollutants that the Chinese allow in their air standards, because they basically don't have air standards, they don't pass the legislation that we do that forces companies like Walmart to buy the stuff. When you're dealing with companies like Aldi's, Walmart, I didn't think we could get any lower, but BJ's, you have to understand, to keep those prices at that level, they're going to buy the lowest price commodity in the commodity trading area, and it's all coming out of China. Honey is a serious issue. We need to devote a program to that. But you're absolutely right.
And if I remember correctly, I want to say about 3 years ago, is that when they had the thing where they had they measured all the human and animal waste that was in some of the shrimp products that came out of China?
It's endless. I mean, when their own FDA, their equivalent of their FDA, can't monitor what's used as a supplement for children as a matter of fact, to just have that contaminant in the formulas used by Chinese women, no wonder they took the guy out and they shot him. I mean, it's just, but that instead of making the fundamental changes necessary to make sure that the baby formula wasn't contaminated or the shrimp wasn't contaminated, They're a communist country. How do you solve the problem? Well, you take the director of food integrity and you shoot him.
Yeah.
Interesting problem solving. We don't do that with the 4th of July celebration. Unfortunately, our founding fathers had a different problem solution method.
Well, so and again, the whole thing that I was reading an article, the article that sort of got me switched on to this was an article that really was saying that we have fake organics coming through Whole Foods, which is a big chain and a big concern. And, there's people, there's a lot of, you're not the only guy like this. Like, who was it we were talking to? Steve Cooper was talking to you in my office the one day. And he goes up to one of your friends in Jacksonville. There are guys that hold the covenant of what you do to the T, and they make sure they watch for GMOs. They watch for the fake, the Chinese imported foods to make sure the quality of food is moving in the right direction. So just this little part of it. And, the one thing since I've started to eat, buy more food from you and then eat beyond organic, what I've found is I feel a lot more satiated. I don't see that I have that binging need anymore or as much. During the weekend here, I probably had more soda than I would want to have, because I was just running around crazy and grabbing what was there when I got tired of my water. And that's another thing I want to talk about. As you're out doing things this holiday weekend, here's two of the big things that you're drinking as you're going out. You're drinking coffee to get started because you're tired, and you're drinking alcohol because you have a nice little parties. Two big dehydrating things. And if you feel your energy's down, start pumping that water into you. You need to have the water into you. You need good, pure sources of that. I drink Penta water is pretty much what I like to drink the most. And I drink a lot of spring water. I bought a case of your spring water when I was out the other day.
Right. The Love Whole Foods water is bottled from an artesian well in the Smoky Mountains. There's no industrial pollution at all. It's got all of the electrolytes that water's supposed to have, no fluoride.
So we want to make sure that, and if I happen to drink water in my at my house out of the sink, it goes through a purification system that I have there with a reverse osmosis. It's a Shackley Best water. I've had it for years. I think my water tastes good when it comes out of the spigot.
Yeah, but that RO water doesn't have any electrolytes, so it's a good water. But the key is that you need to supplement or do Penta water, or the best is to do an electrolyte, something like Cell Food or and preferably a whole food vitamin. Love Whole Foods. Active Male and Active Woman, I formulated to reach optimal rehydration, especially with what we're dealing with here and with the weather the last couple of weeks.
Well, it's been hot out, and I know people are outside working in the yards.
If you're sweating, you need electrolytes.
And here's the thing: if you get to where you're thirsty, it's too late. You need to go sit down in the shade. You need to consume some water, because it's too late. And I, great example. The last Tuesday, one of my clients, he's 84 years old, Mitch, and he this is how sensitive our system gets. He came in, he looked pretty good, he felt pretty good, he had a big smile on his face. We went through 3 exercises together, and I could physically see him start to drag. And then I noticed that when he came in, he had a Band-Aid on his right elbow, and I said to him, Charles, did you give some blood today? He says, yes, I did. I said, how many vials did they take? He said, they only took 2 vials. And I want to tell you that his energy in about the first 7 or 8 minutes of workout just went right down. And I sat him down and hydrated him. Gave him, like you said, an electrolyte. I gave him some of my Shackley Performance, and he felt better when he left. But that's the sensitivity of our system, is we have to be hydrated. And the longer you've drank coffee, or the more you've drank the alcohol over the weekend celebrating the holidays, the more you need to hydrate this morning. You need to get up. Don't start with a cup of coffee. Start with 16 to 32 ounces of nice ice cold pure water, and see what the difference is in your body about 15 minutes later, after you begin to flush that system and get it going. And take that supplement that you take. whichever it is. If it's your whole food, you're going to Love's and getting those.
There's another issue there. The media has taken on this, just as they've misunderstood cholesterol, they've certainly misunderstood salt. The media is constantly hammering no salt, no salt, no salt. So with what you're describing, combined with the fact that people are erratic, they're not using salt in their diet, there's a problem. I wanted to mention on the 25th of July, we're doing a Redmond Real Salt. It's a sea salt demonstration. Remember that sea salt has all 72 rare earth elements, including iodine, which is another issue that we've talked about often. But that's another thing. You can take the Redmond salt and put it in that 12 ounces of water that you mentioned in the morning, and you'll feel it. It'll be like the lights turned on.
And see, again, salt doesn't cause high blood pressure, right?
Sodium chloride causes a drug that's made from refined salt. Is what causes hypertension. When the sodium and the chloride is isolated from the other 70 rare earth elements, that's when you get that dysbiosis. You get an imbalance in your bloodstream, and what the sodium does when it's isolated is it causes a constriction in the vascular system. You know that, suddenly there's tension.
But the other thing is that we create a big imbalance between, just like we have an insulin dominant system, that because of the sugar and processed food, and I think I mentioned that, but let me go back to the 8 hour body program. One of the things we're going to try and get you to do is part of eating better. And again, you're not going to do all these things the first day you walk in. What you're going to do is you're going to try and eat better. So one of the things we're going to ask you to do is stay away from the processed food. Stay away from those processed cookies of sugar. Stay away from the pasta. Stay away from the white breads. And even the whole wheats. If you go to Subway, I just read this the other day in a nutrition magazine. Do you know that the whole wheat bread you get at Subway isn't whole whit? It's just colored. It's colored bread.
It's all marketing. I mean, they dug up this Jared guy and.
Well, listen. Listen, the whole Jared thing. If you take a guy that weighs 350 pounds and is eating 5,000 calories a day of crap, and you have him eat 2,500 calories a day of subs, of course he's going to lose weight.
Right.
How
much? But and I know there's a difference between losing weight and losing muscle mass. And how healthy was he after that? And then we won't even talk about his liver when you basically dissolve. What did he go? 300 pounds to 200?
190 something.
190. Yeah. You remember, folks, it's like Jared turned the rheostat up and incinerated 100 pounds of. We don't want to talk about it because it's a family radio station. If you're not doing a lot of water and flushing those ketones and all of the rest of the stuff that was stored in the fat, it's not a pretty picture. You better be drinking water.
Listen, I want to go back to the issue of losing weight, and all you got to do is go find some people that have lost 100 pounds. Okay, go find some people lost 100 or 130 or 150 pounds, and look at their before and after pictures. Very few of those people look better. Very few. We look at Earl Ferkel, okay? Earl Ferkel looks better today than he looked. Why?
Because he did that systematic approach. He did everything you described at the beginning of the program.
And Steve Robinson looks better. Why? Because he strength trained, he ate right, even though he was eating small amounts of calories when he first started. Today he's eating 2,800 calories a day, and he's eating his 5 to 6 meals, and he's drinking his water, and he's strength training twice a week, and he looks good. He looks like the picture of health. He looks like he wants someone to be when the standpoint is from that standpoint. So we got a caller.
Yeah, we got Dino actually.
I asked Dino to call. Dino.
Yeah, bad timing when you talk about looking like the picture of health, and then I call in.
Now.
Hey, Dino, I want to tell you, first of all, last night it was wonderful to see the boardwalk. And I know this is largely because of your efforts with a lot of the merchants on the Main Street and boardwalk area. doing what they're doing to get people to come out on. And I missed the night of my high school reunion this year, the Lopez reunion. That's the only Saturday night I missed the fireworks. I actually got there during the grand finale. But, the thing about it is what a great thing to see. It's like last night I was down there with some friends. I brought them down, and the beach was packed,
Oh, my God.
and the boardwalk was packed. And I walked up to Zeno's Candy, and if the boardwalk was packed there. I mean, the people were packed there. You could see them going up and down Main Street. It was so good to see that because I was telling the friends I was with, this used to be my hangout when I was younger. It's like, we owned the Lido restaurant, and there was a series of people like Jerry Dolan and all those people that would cross me across the street so I could get down, and I could go down to the Joyland and the Mardi Gras, and I could hang out at the Midway and that, and I could just hang around. And I took my friends into Zeno's candy shop last night, and to show them how they make the candy from scratch. And there's my godson in the back working on the fudge. And I say, I did that. I said, it's like a rite of passage for the Greek boys in this town that until you work for Zeno's and make the fudge from scratch with them, you haven't done your job as a human being.
Yeah, it was unbelievable last night. And then that tribute band, the Eagles tribute band was just amazing. I mean, I'm probably the biggest Eagles freak, and for me to turn around and say that they were amazing, that's pretty, that's pretty unbelievable.
Well, and it looks like that every week that I've been down there, with the exception of the first week when it was rainy, and I was texting you, goes, "Are you going to have the fireworks?" Every night I've been down there, Dino, it looks like the crowd has gotten bigger and bigger because they're starting to know that concert series is there. And I know tonight there's Brad Yates is down there. I don't think that's part of the Boardwalk Merchants.
It is part of the city's efforts to try to bring an activity every night, over there and stuff like that.
But tomorrow night is the Jimmy Buffett tribute band is going to be there, so that'll be interesting to go to.
Tomorrow night's the Jimmy Buffett tribute band, and they're very good also. Next week we have the Beatles tribute band, and the Beatles tribute band, they do 3 costume changes within it, and they are amazing. And the following week is going to be the Elton John tribute band, and I'm telling you, these people take it serious. I mean, they do costume changes. They sound the same. I mean, and last night was the proof. I mean, a lot of people. I uploaded a YouTube link, and I guess if you Google Alter Eagles at the band show, you'll find it. But I mean, they played Hotel California to the T, and then obviously in addition, I don't know if did you get to see we have some street performers. We had one last night doing the Evolution of Dance, which if you talk about YouTube, the Evolution of Dance is one of the hottest hits on YouTube, forever,
that guy was on the boardwalk last night.
Yeah, he was in front of the clock tower.
Wow.
And then
I didn't make it that far down.
It wasn't the original guy who did who started the Evolution of Dance. There's somebody who copied him, but still, he does an amazing job.
Okay, so Dino, tell me something. At the start of the fireworks last night, it was like the firework shooter offer. It fell over the side of the thing, or was that planned to have that firefall going off the end of the pier? Because that was like really cool.
Yes, because that was because it was synchronized to the music from Hog Radio, and so that was the and part of that was the countdown from the space shuttle and stuff like that. They did the countdown, and so then as the countdown's going, you saw the fireworks going off the pier.
Well, we're gonna have to get Paul from the Hog to make sure that we go over there and set up some big old speakers because you know what, I didn't have my music under the Hog last night because it was an awesome fireworks display last night. I got to tell you, it's like my buddies are from like Atlanta and all that, and they were with me. They're going like, their wives are going like, oh my God, this is so cool, and we had a great time. We went, and you know what, I got to tell you, one of the best kept secrets is I know everybody's going to Joe's Crab Shack because the food's really good there. But we went into Pizza King last night, and to see those 20 guys behind the thing work to get that line done, and the pizza that's there. I mean, last night I had a piece of pizza, and like everybody in my group loved it. So we had a great time last night.
Steve has been doing it for over 50 years. If
Yeah.
anybody has it down to the science, it's him.
Yeah, he does. Well, Dino, I hope continued success for the merchants at the boardwalk.
Well,
God
thanks.
bless you guys.
And don't forget the roller coaster's coming in 2 weeks.
All right, well, good. Listen, I don't know I'm going on that roller coaster after seeing it being constructed every week. So.
No problem.
All right, God bless you, Dino, and continue
Take care.
good success to all the boardwalk merchants.
All right, thanks.
All right, now you do have Jim on the line.
Okay. All right.
Jim?
I
Jim?
went to the this is Jim. I also went to the fireworks on Wednesday, and Daytona State had a free symphony concert also, which
Wow.
was excellent.
Wow.
But,
I just can't get used to saying Daytona State after saying Daytona Community College for so long.
Daytona Junior College. at
Yeah,
one
remember
time.
Daytona Beach Junior College. That's how it was, when I was in high school, yeah. So,
Well, I actually took classes when it was Daytona Beach Community College too.
yeah.
So
Well,
back
Daytona
in
Beach Junior College goes back before
70s,
community college, yeah. So, Jim, I know you're on the warpath again because I saw another one of your marked up editorials in my box when I came home the other day from running errands. So tell us a little bit. Give us a quick 3-minute update, and then we got to go get back to
sure,
focusing.
no problem. Yeah. All I'm getting at is the city commission decided to go ahead and get bids on hydrofluorosilicic, that chemical that they're putting in the water, calling it fluoride, and they haven't done any of that contaminant testing that they sort of were talking about and promising to see how much arsenic, lead, or radioactive breakdown products are in the product. And the mayor's sort of saying that, that people are asking for it. And what we need people to do is actually call and let them know if they sort of don't want that stuff in the water, because the data's showing that it's not really that much
Yeah, but
of a
Jim, it's
benefit.
made it clear that he doesn't care. He doesn't listen to the people in the community. What about going to the EPA? What about going through the feds? Since we've seen actions where if there's intransigence on the local level, why don't we invoke the federal level and say, listen, what are the standards?
Well, there have been actually 19 of the EPA unions have actually asked Congress to halt fluoridation back in 2008, and in 2005 it was 11 of them. Yeah.
But you're talking about a new product now, and you're saying that there's radiation in it. So how come we don't get the EPA in on it? If there's radiation...
Well, the EPA doesn't actually regulate NSF. They transferred all regulation of that over to the NSF, a private testing company, to prove safety and benefit.
But who has oversight to NSF?
It's independent as far as EPA regulates contaminants, but when it comes to fluoride or fluoridation, they say you're just following established government bureaucracy practices. We won't intercede is what they've been doing so far.
Okay, so Jim, what I need you to do is give us a 1-minute synopsis of the issue of fluoridation for people who have never, because believe it or not, there are people who have never heard this issue before, and you and Mitch are very well versed with it. Let's give people who maybe first time listeners, because a lot of people in our town from out of state and out of Daytona, that they may have the same issues in their community. So give us, you have been a proponent for fighting fluoridation of water. Tell people why very quickly in 60 seconds or less.
Oh, no problem. Actually, the theory was that by drinking fluoride in your water at 1 part per million, that it would actually decrease cavities and improve dental health. So far, the data pretty much conclusively shows that any benefits are exceptionally minimal, and that topical application like toothpaste is a much greater benefit than ingestion. And now the CDC is even admitting that 40-some% of the kids are having dental fluorosis, or in other words, excessive fluoride causing permanent forever damage to their tooth enamel.
Anybody out there, those are those little white dots you see on children's teeth.
So
yeah, and that's hypomineralized, where it's not correct. It's undermineralized, and actually in the black community, it's double that, and often they get much more severe damage. which really is ugly and very expensive to repair. And it's just
Hey, Jim, talk about what it does.
time
Where
has
does
passed.
talk about the fluoride in the thyroid gland, since everybody out there knows that America's got a major thyroid dysfunction.
It was even used as a medication at the same doses that the people getting now in Europe to suppress thyroid function when your thyroid was overaction. So it depresses thyroid function. It also displaces iodine, and your thyroid and parathyroid system needs iodine. And fluoride reduces the level of iodine in your body, which is a huge problem.
Anybody that, if you're going to the Speedway today to watch, just sit and do some people watching instead of car watching, and you'll get it. You'll get a nice cross-section of America.
Yeah, and it makes us larger and a little bit mentally more slow. It's not a positive thing, low thyroid function.
So, and
Okay.
again, from the standpoint of the 8-hour body, I want to encourage that one of the things we look at is all hormonal levels and hormonal balance, and keeping people using the burst train. We've seen this to be one of the most important factors. And some of you, like Mitch did earlier, I started to get on the topic of this, was we think of it as interval training, but I have to tell you that there's two different major differences in what we will encourage you to do in our burst training. That's part of the attention, the small attention to aerobic exercise, and that is, number one, is that the tool I have in the SciFit equipment is a much more efficient tool than you going out and, say, running on your own. The second thing that will happen is that we will shorten the burst from the 15 or 20 seconds that they try and get you to do to 6 to 8 seconds, which will be much more efficient with the tool. And this begins to change the hormone levels from the standpoint of the responsiveness. The other thing, Mitch, on Monday I will begin the Daniel fast again that I like to do about the first of every quarter or so. And I like to do it for 10 days is what my goal is. And really what I eat is, if it's not, I'm basically eating fruits, nuts, seeds, and water. And then I'll have fresh vegetables and that. And when I do that, I seem to really feel my energy level burst up. And I think that the sensitivity, the hormone sensitivity that comes from fasting, this intermittent fasting that I've begun at the direction of Dr. Daniel Pompa, there's a period during my quarter looks like this. Because of my religious beliefs, I always fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. I fast. If I don't have a long period of fasting, like during this period, I'll have August 1st through the 15th, which is a major fast period as an Orthodox Christian. During this period of this next 90 days, I'll start off with this 10-day fast. Then I will fast on Wednesdays and Fridays. And then I'll take 1 week that I'll take the first 3 days and I'll fast. Just all I'll drink is whey water because it helps to balance that sodium-potassium level. I've noticed in my legs, my viroscopy that I have looks a lot better. I'm noticing my energy level. The biggest thing I've noticed, though, is by downturning my inflammation, is my joints don't bother me as much by doing this Daniel fast. It's probably the one thing that's encouraged me to do the Daniel fast. Now, there has been a weight loss benefit to me of about 17 pounds that I've been able to keep off because it seems, again, eating more organic, using the supportive eating that we're going to talk about and teach in the 8-hour body program. What happens is that we are beginning to get the systems to work a little bit better and the metabolism to come back. Fasting, finding out from the standpoint of the thyroids.
In my religious beliefs, fasting is integral, as it is in just about every legitimate world faith. So there seems to be a spiritual component that is essential. We share that same understanding that a great way to retune the body and get back in that mind-body, that optimal health of mind, body, spirit is fundamental. That's why we paired up.
Well, I think, and I wanted people to
and water plays a critical role. And all the waters we sell at Love Whole Foods are fluoride free. Jim's dead on. We're asleep at the wheel on this issue.
Well, I think too many times, like, and I'll get too political, but you read the example today of the the report that Leslie just gave. She said, we got 195,000 new jobs, and we got and the unemployment rate stayed the same. Well, the government has a way of manipulating its numbers that does things, and I think too often we get to where we depend, and the people we depend upon depend on. And a great example, the doctors. You can't tell me that doctors aren't great people for the most part. They've worked hard. They have a genuine desire to help people. But what's happened because of the hijacking of the medical industry, these guys don't get to do, they're working their butts off. And their education and everything they do is really formulated. I mean, by what comes into pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, it's filtered. We call it a filter. If you filter out all of the studies done on food as medicine, as nutrition, take Linus Pauling, for example, and all that you're being told are the data supplied by the pharmaceutical companies, your view of the world is skewed. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad. Now we all suffer from information overload. The purpose of this radio program is to say your clients in your store, in your fitness studio, and my clients, my customers at both my locations in Port Orange and Ormond Beach are testaments. Earl, we share Earl. That's why we're doing this program.
We share Carl Como.
And anyone listening to this program, those are just our stars. You come into Love Whole Foods on a given day, and I can introduce you to whoever's on the floor. I'll introduce you to somebody that's lost weight and kept it off sensibly. And then we'll deal with things like depression, sleeplessness, chronic hyperacidity, and they'll tell you the story. Come in. I mean, the best advertising, as you well know, is a happy customer, a happy client. And I invite people, come in, pick up the shopper that I just discussed. It's got in both stores, in both locations.
And tell everybody where the locations are, Mitch.
Right. We've got our primary location at 275 Williamson Boulevard, right across from the post office down from Walmart in Ormond Beach. And the second is 1633 Taylor Road, which is just opposite the Westgate Shopping Center where the Publix is, just west of I-95, exit 256. But the shopper, we've got events taking place all day long on what we talked about. The Buffalo guys are going to be doing free-range beef. I've got Applegate Farms is doing free-range chicken. I've got Ravens Brew Coffee doing organic fair trade coffee. And I'm a big fan of coffee if it's disciplined and used correctly. I've got, as I mentioned, on the 30th, Goldenrod Apiaries is doing a demo on the best Florida honey. That's a local company putting dollars right into the pockets of Floridians. And then I mentioned on the 25th, we've got Redmond Salt. Come and get a free sample of sea salt. The only one better that I've ever had is from the Dead Sea, and it's a lot cheaper. You don't have to go to Israel to get it. But it's all there. It's all free. Try it. We're making that commitment to love and laugh and just feel great. But the lifting is the critical component. Boy, that's the switch. And you know that when you do your fasting. Right. You're going to do a minimum amount of metabolic work just to burn the rust that we accumulated since Easter.
And one of the big things I think is very, very important is this is a trick I learned from reading one of my holistic medicine books the other night. Is we don't stimulate our lymphatic system. And the stimulation of the lymphatic system is actually a very easy thing to do physically by just the swinging of your arms. And it's a dramatic, the change that occurs in the energy level when you do that. And you just stand and just sort of give a visual of this. You stand and you have your hands and you start to turn side to side. Your hands start to free flow. And then you allow your hands to come and hit at the base of your back, like you're just sort of slapping your back. The heart drives the circulatory system, but there is no organ that drives the lymphatic system. And that little activity done once or twice a day will stimulate your lymphatic system to try and move some of that waste out of your system. I'm just reading on it, and I've been trying. I go like, wow, it's remarkable. You know, you can actually feel a little bit of an energy change occurring from that standpoint. But again, I want to encourage 672-6464 is the number at Bodez. The 8-hour body is the program we're running. It's $99. Dave, I don't even think we've cut a commercial. I think we're still running the summer membership. But it's $99. It's the 8-hour body is the program. Three key components of the program. We're just going to try and get you to move yourself eating better, number one. Number two is we're going to try to get you to work a little harder on your strength training to pay attention to your muscle. And then we want you to get some moderate aerobic exercise, not 40 minutes a day. The 8 hours comes from an hour a week. Break that hour up the way you want it. 3 20-minute sessions, two 30-minute sessions. You know, we won't do over that. If you can only get in one time per week, you're gonna only work out 30 minutes. But let me tell you what, you will feel a difference from that standpoint. When we talk about eating better, we want you to try and eat more organic. We want you to try and get rid of your processed foods. We want you to use a supportive eating program of taking your plate, cutting it in half, and filling it with fibrous carbs. Take the other half of it, cut it in half so you have a quarter of lean proteins, hopefully organic certified kind of stuff that you can get from Love Whole Foods. And then you have your things like your fruits, your wild rice, your potatoes, your sweet potatoes, your baked potatoes.
Kale.
Kale.
I got to tell you, superfood.
Yeah.
Kale, broccoli.
All those things on that, but the kale would go on the fibrous carb section of the plate more than on the starchy
Kale
carb.
doesn't have a lot of carbs.
But it's still the fiber content.
It's a fiber, right.
So you can make some really good.
Right.
And you know, kale's great. You know, I've been making some shakes where I put the kale in it and I put my protein in it. I mean, you can make your supportive eating shake.
Our deli's got it's called the Green Machine. You want to see how good kale can taste? Come in and get a Green Machine, just the juice.
All right, so the number at Love Whole Foods.
677-5236 or 767-6543.
And I will be starting my Daniel diet on Monday, so next week we'll see if I'm more alert and sharper. I'll be able to. You're laughing, Dave? Was that you laughing in the background?
Listen, anybody that comes in and mentions the program and the Daniel Diet by Tasso gets a free bottle of Love Water. You want to see how water should taste? And then we've got the Tasso's promo card. So if you want the details of what Tasso was mentioning, get your water and pick up.